Done. All right, boys. So this weekend we start playing our league. And I know we've been together for a very short amount of time, but I think we've moved along pretty well. Some of our results as of late has been impressive, right? So what I want to try to do today is talk through. So I've been thinking actually a lot about how we're playing. And I'm going to use both our teams because we play in a very similar manner to each other. And in doing so, what this allows us to do is it allows us to play in a specific format that then we can try to manipulate teams, right? So what does that mean? And you guys all know of this pentagon shape that we drew up, right? The idea is, for example, if the ball is, let's say here, our center mids are supposed to be in a shape that allows us to do this sort of structure where we have a pyramid shape throughout. Now, why is this important? This is important because if you look at it, there's actually 5 options to pass. So technically, if we count this 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And these are all direct passes. And this is important because it gives you more options to be out. So when we are playing, this pentagon shape is extremely, extremely important for us to maintain. This blue shape stays this way. The things that move is when the ball moves, right? Let's say the ball moves to the winger and we can replicate this on the other side. And we talked about this. And I know on paper, it looks so simple, but when you're on the field and there's guys around you and the ball's moving, what does that actually mean? It means that you have to be aware of your surroundings, look for the open shape. Will it always be this perfect shape right here where you create the base and then on the opposite side? No, but it'll be some form of that, right? There might be a player here, there might be a player here, and that means this person has to shift and find open spaces. There might be a player here where you have to shift to make him move so that there's an option somewhere as well. In this shape, the defender should be here as an option, right? But let me kind of share with you something that I'm thinking of doing that's different. Both our teams aren't prolific scoring teams, right? Or at least I know Coach Kai's team is not a prolific scoring team. We don't get that many goals. So what I'm going to do is change up the shape and I'm going to use what our strengths are. So let me so since the very beginning, this is the way that we've always played, right? 2 up front, 1 in the back in the defensive mid. I'm going to switch this up. And depending on the team, this is extremely important. Why? So I'm going to start moving this here. It's going to look like this going forward, right? And this shape still works because if the ball is down here, the expectation is that the defensive mid shifts here, the other defensive mid shifts here. We still have that shape, right? Let's say it's over here. This shape now becomes like this. It's still the same shape offensively, but from a defensive standpoint, look at what we have now. We are not going to get scored on as much because there's going to be 4 defenders in this space. I'm going to remove these for right now because you understand the shapes already, right? Let's talk about it from the defensive end first. Let's assume this team is in position, right? They'll play a 1-4-3, which is typically what we'll face, or a 1 or a 2-1, or actually a 3-4-1. It's the reverse when you talk about it. So let's look at it here. Let's say they're in this sort of shape and the ball is beaten here. Let's say this individual gets beat. He's chasing back at this point. He's chasing back. So here, look at how the movement now works. This person, which in my team On the right, on the left side is Aaron, right? Aaron, look at where you go. I'll do this. I'll do this. Aaron is going to come and engage that pass, right? So Aaron moves out. Before, what we were doing is Mark would move into the middle. Mark is going to stay there now. What we're going to do is have this forward, this center mid, because there's two defensive center mids. He's going to come and take this spot. So if we move it to where it's supposed to be, look at what happens here, right? We move here. He intercepts the ball. Let's say Max or Micah comes back or Noah comes back, and we're in this sort of shape. Now look at where what happened. One person comes out, Mark still stays in the middle, and then this person now flows into this mix, and we get this sort of coverage. He's guarding 9. This person opens up and takes this space. So we, in essence, are almost in a shape similar to 4. Does that make sense? Good. So let's move it back. We're going to move it back. We're going to move it back here. And let's play this out in real time of what happens. All right. And I'll talk about offensive later. I think we're going to win defensively. So look at how this goes. The ball from the back gets played. It beats this person. He is tracking back, right? He's tracking back. This person moves to intercept. As he moves to intercept, he leaves a gap here. This person has to come in. Actually, he runs back, but he's in this position. He takes his spot. Mark comes in towards the middle. We shift a little bit like this. So now where's the weak area? The weak area is over here, right? Actually, and the other defensive mid, of course, he's going to move into this shape to guard this man. This guy will probably come up here. Midfielder is tracking back, but we're not too worried because he's going to run into this person if need be. This person is going to be over here. Right back shifts into this spot because we only defend what? 2/3, remember? We defend 2/3 of the field, right? So this person shifts here. We forego this area. This area becomes no longer dangerous to us. This area here. Or it's not as dangerous. So we're shifting in. So we are guarding this space. Forward at this point, shifted back here to prevent the back pass potentially, to prevent the back pass from happening. Does that make sense to everybody? So the key here is the movement of the left back here. I'm sorry, left back here, and that person's here. So left defender goes out to engage. Center mid stays here. Drops into the area where the left defense is vacated. The other defensive center mid comes back and is guarding, right? It might be where this is what's going to happen, right? There's going to be a 2, but it's 1-1 with one person covering. So if he gets beat for any reason, you're engaging. He's coming back in. Do you see how the rotation goes? All right, so let's try that. Let's try that again on the other side so that we can kind of replicate both sides and see how it works, right? Let's assume their forwards here, our 2 defensive mids here. This person's here. We're going back to where we were at. And now let's say the ball shifted on this side. Ball shifted on this side. If he gets beat, he's tracking back. This person has the ball. Right defender comes out to engage. Center mid immediately drops into this space. The other defender squeezes in to maintain this control, which is the most dangerous area of the field. This center mid, which is the other defensive mid, comes back and is guarding a guy, right? So most likely what's happening is they're shifting up with their offense. They're shifting. This is what it's probably going to look like, most likely. The offensive mid is coming into this space to try to overload and compress. This guy's coming in. Make sense? Yeah, Mark, did you have a question? You can unmute yourself.
Um, since we are doing a different formation, does that mean the way we do corners is different or no?
No, the way we shift corners are the same. If you look at it, not much has changed, to be honest, right? The only shift that we had was instead of having a shape similar to this before, right? Where it's this triangle, we're just inverting that triangle and going this shape,
Oh, okay.
right? And then so before what would happen is, and I think this is where it hurt us, in the previous tournaments, we would lose 3-2 or a couple of games 3-2, right? I think it's because both of you had to have so much responsibility in this area, which is one person shifts and another person's actually taking the entire area. What this creates for us now is a situation where it's no longer just the two of you. It's now a three-man defense with another defender floating on top, covering, right? So one might cover, the other might cover, but what does this require? It requires us to talk, right?
Yeah.
So who are these defensive mids? Let's talk about that for our team. It could be Noah, it could be Micah, it could be Max. Those are the three guys, the two guys that can be in here. It could be also Benji, right? So it could be any one of these. And why did we think this? And we talk about it from a coaching perspective. Because on our team, the person that plays with their back to goal, probably most comfortable is Landon, right? Landon plays very comfortable with the ball coming in from his back, and he can control it, dribble, or whatever. So we want to create an opportunity for him to have this space to work with, right? So if we look, if our red team is structured like this is what he'll do. If the ball's on this side, and let's talk about offensive right now. If the ball's on this side, he can switch over, receive it. So let's say he comes over to receive this ball from the left wing, right? What I would like on the offensive side is the opposite center mid comes up into this space, right? So it kind of creates that, if you look at it, it kind of creates this same triangle that we had before, right? But this time it's a little skewed, but it's still a triangle. The base is still here, right? So this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to actually shore up our defense by having the two defenders and taking some pressure off of Aaron and Mark, right? With this lineup, we should not get scored on very much, right? The idea here is we should not get scored on very much because our four strong defenders are in the area that is considered the most dangerous, which is this area here. This is the danger area here, right? And look at what happens. We'll always have at least one dropping in if you're shifting out. So there's always 4 people in that space. We'll work on this tomorrow. But let's talk about the offensive side a little bit. So now that you have seen this, right? So when we're on offense, the two defenders are still squeezing in and moving up together, right? What this defender does is if it's on the left side, the right defender shifts up to produce the triangle or the pyramid that we see. If it's on this side, right? Let's say the ball's on this side, then this other defender comes up and owns that space. So we still have the triangle action. Understood? It's a very simple way, and I think it'll solidify our defense. You will put whoever's faster on Aaron's side to help with speed, and we'll put the other defender on Mark's side, for example. And in Tony's team, it could switch up as well. It could be Indy would serve as what Landon is, and then the other two could be Cruz and August, or Cruz and Kingston, or Kingston and August. I don't know what Coach Tony is planning on doing, but this will seriously provide us with what our strength is, which is defense. If you look at Coach Tony's team, we have a very good defender in Lucas. We have a very good defender in Isaiah. We have a very good defender mindset with August. And we have a very good defender with Kingston or Cruz or whoever it is. That's a very strong defense. And on our side, Mark and Aaron are solid. Noah is solid. Benji is solid. Micah is solid, and Max is solid. So we solidify and we don't get scored on. Adishai and Jonathan have proven themselves to be very dangerous up front. Benji has proven himself that he can blast shots. So we're going to get our goals, right? Gavin creates massive speed on the side. Jonathan creates massive speed on the side. Edgar could play in this position as well. So there's a lot of possibilities there for us to play with. And I personally think this is probably going to be how we're going to actually do quite well in our structure. So we talked about two other sort of movements on this side. We understand the horseshoe, right? And we understand the up, back, through concept. And look at what happens when I provide that sort of scenario here. Let's assume the ball is, we'll kind of run this through and just let you see what the potential is. Let's say Aaron has it here. Our defensive mid will do this movement. Winger is on the side to provide. The other defender is at an angle backwards, right? Which allows for a better angle so he doesn't get caught. If he's back here and the keeper's here, we have an outlet here, we have an outlet here, we have an outlet there, we have outlets here and here and here on the ground. All these are options on the ground. Now, let me remove these and tell you what the up through back looks like here, right? The up is this movement. You're facing him, right? With a body shape like this so that you can see the goal and you can see our goal and you can see the ball. This person is shaped like this at a different angle. Most likely he's being pressed. So you're probably somewhere up here. This defender is going to come in. This defender is going to come in. And so if he's defending here, the pass goes here. If he's defending here, the pass goes here. And if it goes here, guess what happens? Here's the next pass. This guy needs to move in front to receive it back, right? And then as this ball is going back, the winger is running through for this ball to happen. Because you're looking up, it's going to be easier. You see how we manipulate the other team? If you watched, I don't know if you guys watched the U.S. national team play yesterday. They played like 10-year-old kids, like you guys. Every single time they got the ball, someone's trying to turn into somebody else. And when they took a pass back, they took 3 touches to send this ball back. And by the time you take 3 touches here, all the defenders are back in their place. So the timing of how we do this, and we're going to work on this tomorrow because we're going to be on the grass field. If you didn't train, bring your grass cleats. We're going to be training on the grass area tomorrow, okay? Have both actually with you at all times because we could be either switching in and out from there. But this is the forward, back, through scenario, right? And then what we also want to do is once we sit back, let's say the other team is very good and we sit back a little bit. We squeeze here, center mid squeeze here. We're sitting on top of it, right? Center mid's here. He's dropping back. Wingers are in their spot. Let's say all the wingers are in their spot and they're in the right shape. So they're pressing up, they're trying to score on us, right? We have guys here, we have a guy here, the body shape should be here. You should always guard with in line of the goal, right? So your shape should always be like CM on 7, it's in line with the goal. 6 and CM should be in line with the goal, right? So you see how the angles work. You don't stand over here. If you stand over here, you're at a disadvantage. He has a clear path. You want to be in his way. Okay? So we sit here. Guess what happens when we do this? Everybody's going to press up. They're 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 going to press up. We have one guy here. He'll probably end up being right here, guarding, but everyone else is pressed up. What we want to do in this situation is when we get the ball, look at all the space that we have back behind the goal. This is a huge area here, right? Look at all the space. So when they're pressing up and they're in our half and we get the ball here, or we get the ball here, or we get the ball here, look for these angles. Look for these angles to exploit. Through here, right? We rarely want to go over here because when you go here, it's just going to roll and the goalie's going to come out. But if you go to the wing, our forwards can run. And as he runs up, this is what I want to happen. All our players need to rush on the quick counters, right? Meaning our guys, you're sprinting. So I'm gonna use another line, which is a free draw line. I think this is, where's the free draw line? I think this is it. Look at what's happening. I want you to make that run. I want you to make this run. I want you to sprint to make this run. I want you to sprint to make this run, with the convergence being into their goal area, this area, right? Because what I would like to do is once it pops over, Adishai chases, and then he has immediate options, or Jonathan chases, or Benji chases. He has immediate options in the middle. Where do we want to get the ball in order for us to score? Here. Let me remove this. We want to get it here. That's where we get the ball to score. You're not going to score anywhere else on the field, right? Most of our goals will come within this yellow area. So the idea here is to move as fast as possible there. Got it? Good. Let me remove some of this. I want to talk about another concept and then we're good for today. We've been in this mode where we're sitting back a lot, but depending on how the other team is, we might want to press. And the press is very simple. So let's say we press when they kick their corner kicks, right? This guy's here, keeper's here. He opens up on one side. Most of them will try to be cute and play out of the middle. This is what they're going to look like, most likely. They're going to look like this. We move up, forwards here. Center mid is here. Our center mid, in this case, will step up. One is going to be behind. Left defender, right defender, left wing, right wing. Now, let's say they play this ball to this guy, right? Forward, this is how I want you to run. You're going to run, whoops, sorry. I want you to run like this. And then you stop them, right? You don't let them come back down here. You run at an angle to prevent them from doing the U on us. Got it? Winger, immediately on this person. Immediately on this person. Forwards already over here, engaging, right? Here's what we're doing. This midfield leaves. He comes into the middle. He's making sure that if this guy is not smart and gets panicked and passes in here, he's there to score. This winger shifts in here, right? So we're all, and at this point, most likely what's going to happen is this guy's going to come in up to here as well. He's going to try to come out because they see the ball coming. Your job is to close all passing options to the nearest guy. One of the defenders has to kind of drop into this free space, and we'll work on this tomorrow to cover this area, because what's going to happen is you press him, You push him to the sideline, right? And you don't let him beat you. So you're staying pressed. Everyone is on their man, literally touching their man. So there's no options. You instantly, so if you're here, you sprint, right? You sprint in. Whoops, sorry. You sprint in here, you sprint to your man, and they're all guarding, you're all guarding the person. Which means he doesn't have any way out. Guess what he's going to do? Over the top. He's going to kick it over the top into this area. And now we get it. Once we get it, we come back into our shape, right? We come back into our shape. Everybody leaves their man. We come back into our shape. And then we keep the ball. So 2 things to think about for tomorrow. We have 3 minutes left. Or 2 things to think about this weekend. I really want you to keep the ball and make them run on our big field, right? So what is the concept behind that? Let's divide the field into thirds. Here's 1/3, here's the other third. When the ball is here in this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, right? So when it's in our defensive third, 1 touch, 2 touches, max. Find the open space, find the midfield. When it's in the number 2, I want you to find rondo opportunities, meaning everybody's moving so that you have a 4-man. This is why that angle, that this shape is so important, right? Actually, I think I took a screenshot. I can share with you. This is why this shape is so important, right? Look at what we have here. It's a rondo. It's literally a rondo, right? So let me switch back here. That rondo shape will allow us to always outnumber our guys here. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, right? Look at the shape that we have. You can play rondo in this 4-man shape. So if you're in a situation where someone close to you has the ball, you look to see if you can create the diamond triangle to keep it. You got it? And then, so that's lane in 2, we're playing rondo, which is keep away. In lane 3, be creative. Attack, 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 attack. If you're free, let's say, and you get the ball in 2 and you can attack, go for it. But if they're in their shape, then we play rondo. You do not have to go forward all the time, boys. Right? Let's keep it simple. You can pass between 2 people, back and forth, and shift away from them and still keep the ball. You watch Real Madrid, you watch all those guys, they pass back and forth between 2 players all the time. They just shift. The thought here in lane 2 is when you pass, you move and get open. Okay? And then the third one, attack, be direct. And in this third one, I've updated this document to show you what the offensive option through the middle third is. You attack on the wing, you go through the middle, he drops it back. It opens up so many options for you to play, right? It opens up a lot of options. First pass, second pass, third pass, right? Third pass. And then look at the 3 options that each one of you have. Then forward can actually just shift away as people are looking away. And you create opportunities by changing the angle of play. All right, boys. I'm going to unmute right now, everybody. And you can actually unmute yourself. Do you have any questions? Does it make sense? We're going to work on this tomorrow. But the idea for today, and the main one today, is that we're moving away, at least Coach Kai's team is. I think Coach Tony has the option to play the 2 front center mids. I think our team, or Coach Kai's team, has the 2 center backs is the way we're going to go, like this, right? We're going to do this instead. And we'll work through the movement tomorrow. But this will be most likely how we enter tournaments, how we do everything. Because with the 4-man back, there is no way a winger or a forward could beat 3 guys on either side, right? And it gives the creative midfielder the energy when the ball's in there to kind of get his gas so that he can then dictate the play on the offensive side. We need to get the ball to our creative center mids more, guys, not less. I think we bypass them way too much. Any questions for anybody?
Does this kind of like change the play? Like change the entire play? Or is it like kind of the same and we're doing the same thing? Or is it just the same like thing,
It's
but
not,
like
it's nothing different. It's only a structural thing on defense. Like if you're looking at it from this perspective, the only difference is before you would create. So let's say the ball is here. Before we were like this, right? We were like this. And this guy would shift back. Now it's if let's say I make this DM for so that you guys know. Before, this is how we played. Defensive mid, 2 center mids. Right? Now what we're doing is we're doing 2 defensive mids and 1 center mid in the front. So look at what's happening now. If the ball's here, he shifts into a position that he can receive the ball, right? So let's say here, this guy's up here. And then this guy shifts here. So the shape is still the same. The shape is still the same. If you look at it, it's exactly the same shape, right? The only thing that's different, the only thing that's different is on defense. And I think that's where it changes the most. So let's say they have the ball and number 5 is attacking. In my case, this would be Aaron. Aaron would be coming out to stop him. And this defensive mid, instead of just being in the middle here, needs to drop back and be even like this. So why? If he beats him, guess what? This guy comes in. This guy comes back behind to support. And if he's super fast, and he beats him and him, guess who's coming? And then you guys, and this defensive mid would then have to drop here. So he has to be 1, 2, 3 in order to get a shot off. And if he's that good, we're going to lose the game, right? But at this age, I don't think there's anybody. We're big, we're fast, we're physical. There's nobody that's going to beat us the same way that it's there. And what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to have a scrimmage on that grass field where we play both our styles. And then coaches are going to kind of sit there and talk through how this should look. But generally speaking, DMs, CM, it will look like this. It simply is this guy goes out, this guy comes back, right? And then this guy actually takes a slightly more defensive posture so that he can cover if there's a need, but he's staying central. And this DM falls in as well. So we're defending with 4 guys. There is no way, and I doubt there's going to be any team that can hit a ball into this space. And even if they do, we can shift, right? We can shift into our shape the same way. And on offense, the only difference, Landon, is that instead of having so if it's a DM, this one right here, right? Let's say the ball's played from Mark into, I don't know, Jonathan. You would come and support. You would come and support and try to receive that ball, which this is your area now, right? You can actually shift both sides to receive the ball.
so I'm like a helper. So I'm like a helper
You're
for
not a
both
helper,
sides.
dude. I don't understand what that means. You're not a helper. You're the actual guy that he's going to look to come to. Helper would be on this side coming up. So the defensive mid now moves up to take the CM role. So now if you're here, you still have the diamond, right? The diamond is still there. The rondo is still possible there. And if we lose the ball, guess what? Drop back and maintain this shape. And in doing so, if we look at the way we're structured, our defensive stance is actually happening here. And you guys in the back are just covering the holes that come through. Does that make sense? We'll walk through it. I know it's a slight change from what you're doing, but the reality is it's not changing much. I personally think this will solidify us. We won't be scoring massive amounts of goals, or actually we'll score the same amount because the same people are coming back up. But what it prevents is anybody else from scoring on us. Anybody else? Noah, you understand? Okay. Cruz, you understand? Benji understands. Aaron understands. Mark, you understand? Right? Andre's not here, but we'll talk to him tomorrow. So coaches, tomorrow, Max, do you understand? It's a very simple concept. It actually makes you less tired, right? You're not running. Before, that DM was covering that entire space. Now you're covering your side. So if we split the field up, Aaron, you cover your side. Mark, you cover your side. And then when you're out here, somebody's coming in and covering the middle for you. And you guys, there has to be a lot of communication. So we'll always outnumber their offense. We'll never be in a situation where it's 1v1. It's always 3v2, 3v1, and so forth. All right, boys. I don't want to keep your parents waiting too long. But that's how we play. Coach Tony, oh, I see Coach Tony and Coach David on. You guys, does that make sense from what I kind of talked about earlier with you guys?
Yeah. Definitely makes sense. And I definitely like that approach. I'll talk to Coach David because I know we have some options there too, and try to figure out like I think you mentioned a couple of things that we want to keep it the same based on our defense and the players that we have for those positions, or do we want to try this? Because having more of a defense will be something ideal, and we can definitely try it out to see how that works out for us as well. So no, I like it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think from a coaching standpoint, how you assess is if the other team seems to be strong,
Right.
go with the back two. If the other team seems to be weak, press them and play with the
Yep.
offensive two. And you guys have a lot more options there
Right.
with the players in your area.
Right. Hey, I know Indy is not in here, but Cruz, hopefully that makes sense for you because you're definitely gonna play a key role there. Similar to you, Miguel, right? Since you guys hold the mid, hopefully this makes sense. If you guys have any questions tomorrow, please bring it to our attention so that we can walk through it again.
Yeah.
That way you guys understand, because again, you guys are pretty much pivoting the team and helping the team move in the directions. Obviously, the wingers are gonna have to be looking for those options, right? So midfielders, you guys have a lot to think about and pay attention to this
Yep.
to this training session. So yep.
Yeah. So think a lot. There's actually just certain movements that are always there, right? You're always moving up to take that space opposite of the center mid as he checks into the ball. You take the opposite guy goes, the other guy slides in the middle. And then if the ball comes back to the other side and the offensive mid goes there, the other guy drops to provide that backward support for the through ball, and the other guy moves up. So you're doing this sort of cycle where you're moving and you're rotating into the spaces on offense. And on defense, you sit and you engage, right? Our defense should not be beaten at all with this defense. Because if the DM sits really close to the defenders, the minute they beat it, our defenders are fast, they're big, and they're aggressive, right? So even if they beat one guy, the other guy's there to slow them up so that so let's say you get beat and you are the defensive mid, and then the defender comes up to take you, you drop to the other side, and then you drop behind him to support him as this guy's engaging. And it just maintains that level of support always. We always want to outnumber the other team. And with that, thank you very much. If there's no other questions, we'll run through this tomorrow. Landon, actually, do you have a question?
Mom, Trang wants to talk with Aaron's mom. Aaron,
Oh,
Yeah. Can
Aaron.
you, Dad, stay back, please?
Okay. All right, guys, thank you.